Oh, I didn't have my microphone on. Sorry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all together now. I'm not going to push them all the way in because we're going to check the rotation on these guys. Once I get the rotation figured out, we'll probably take and zip tie it down real nice and neat. See if you guys can see. We'll zip tie them down all nice and neat, but I'm not going to push them all the way in until we check the rotation on these guys and make sure that we have the right rotation going. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug these guys in any old which way, and when we get to the programming part, then we'll worry about which way is spinning what and all that jazz, and then we'll push these connectors all the way in. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do for now, and we'll get this all plugged in. Okay, now that we got those plugged in, like I said, I'm going to leave that just kind of loose till we do the test out. Now, for these things, these are all the speed controls. I did look up, you do not have to disconnect the power and ground wires. You can just plug it right in to the nays. So all you got to do is just plug them onto this. So what I'm going to do is, since this is so long, okay, I'm going to probably take and shorten these guys up substantially, like shorten them up quite a bit. I've got a set of crimpers and some other little crimpies to do that with, and so that's what we'll do, is we'll see if we can't shorten these up and recrimp them. So that's the first order of business. Be back in a second. Okay guys, well, it looks like we've got this all pretty much put together. I shortened up all the ESCs, got them all tucked in nice and all plugged in right here. So I'll show you that real fast. So got all of them plugged in here. It starts on the right hand side and it goes to the left hand side. So it goes ESC 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you got to remember it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So you make sure and do 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4. So you make sure and wire that up properly. I just recrimped it. I have one of these kits. You can get these from Amazon. They're pretty sweet. They have the crimp contacts and the different housings, and then you need to pick yourself up a pair of crimpers. But I can show you how to crimp one of these contacts on a little bit later in the video. But that's basically what I did. So I just had a nice clean look. I just cut these off and just re-crimped all the contacts and redid it all. This is what I did to keep everything shorter. Now we got to put the transceiver together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the transceiver and we're going to plug it all in. So you're going to take this cable harness that it came with, okay? Notice how one has all three, okay? And the rest just have individual ones. Okay, the one that has all three is going to be have the power and the ground for the transceiver. So on the nays, these first pins right here, this is the power and the ground, okay? And then channel 1, and that's how you're going to connect this. You want the white being up. So you're going to connect this on right here. See where this cable, this one that has everything, is the first three, 1, 2, 3, okay? That's how you're going to do it. And then that first cable I'm going to weave through here, I believe, and it's going to connect up to the channel 1. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show that to you. On the transmitter, there is a channel 1 that's right there. That's where this first one is going to go. So I'm going to put it on channel 1. And now, how on these transmitters work, it goes, if you're looking at it this way, where you're looking at all of them, let me hold it up again. Okay, so if you're looking at it going from bottom to top, okay, from bottom to top, it's going to go signal and then positive and negative, if I remember right. Okay, can you see that? So it's going to go signals the bottom row, next row up is the positive, next row up is the ground, okay? So we're going to take this and plug it in to channel 1, okay? The white wire is the signal, and then the power and the ground, and that's how we're going to do it. Now for the rest of these, you just follow what the nays has written on it. The nays has written, the next one over is going to be number 2, and it comes this way. Okay, so show this to you. So it's going to go number 1, which we already hooked up, and then it goes 2, 3, and then on the bottom it starts and goes 4, 5, 6, okay? And it starts over at the side. So it goes 1, 2, 3. So the next 3 is 2 and 3, or these next 2 channels, and then starting on this end, okay, starting with this guy here is 4, and it's labeled on the circuit board, okay? And you just plug them all in. Now there's some that we won't use because I don't have an 8-channel one, but really you don't even need a 6-channel one. You just need roll, pitch, yaw, and throttle. So really you only need 4 channels technically. But the Naze is equipped with 8, so if you have an 8-channel transmitter and receiver, that you can use 8 channels, and the others are just auxiliaries. You can program maybe your switches, you know, like on my transmitter I've got all these switches that are on it. You can program these, or program maybe these for something, or maybe trim or something, I don't know. You can program a bunch of stuff, and we'll see that when we get into programming, but for right now we'll just connect what we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these all up. Okay, so now that's connected up. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably throw some zip ties on this and whatnot, make it look all nice and neat so far as that goes. See, that's all hooked up now. Now these extra ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these from the harness. So how to do that is, if you notice these harnesses, well, in fact, let me just show you on this one. Let's zoom in real quick. Zoom way in. Okay, move this out of the way. Okay, so we can see this. So what you can do is you take a very thin screwdriver. I've got this little control screwdriver, okay? Take a very thin screwdriver, and right here you got to lift up the little plastic piece. There's a little plastic piece that's right there that you have to lift up. Now I'm going to have to lean down to look at this, so hopefully my head doesn't get in the way. But you have to get up underneath this little plastic retainer. Okay. And once you get underneath that, you should be able to lift it up out of the way to where you can pull the contact out. Sometimes you have to push the contact back in so you can get underneath this. Sorry, I'm right in the way. Let me see if I can get... Okay, now I've just gotten underneath it. Okay, hopefully move my fingers. I'm underneath that little plastic lip right there. I'm going to see if I can't back the contact out. Okay, see how the contact came out? So hopefully you guys can see that. See that little thing? I bent it up. You can bend it right back down, but see this right here? So you can push that back down. But that's the retainer clip. You have to bring up that retainer clip, and then the contact will come out. And so that's what I'm going to do. Let me back up here. Let's back out. That's what I'm going to do with this cable harness for these guys that I don't need. I'm just going to back them out. So I'm going to use that right now. Just going to push them up, get underneath that little lip. Now hold on, I got to get a hold of it first. So the first one, I'm going to get under that little lip and pull that contact out. I'll just leave that out. Next one, do the same thing. I'm just going to get underneath this, pull that contact out. Okay, see that? See, now I can plug my little harness back on. There. And now I don't have any extra wires just dangling or hanging around. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this all down, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay guys, so I picked up the camera so I can show you kind of what's going on here. I've gone ahead and what I did was I used my power supply, set it for like, well not this one was a charger, set it for like about 12 volts, 11.9 right now, and then just went ahead and used a spare end and connected it up because I haven't charged the battery fully yet over here. I gotta put it on the charger and charge it up, but just to make sure that everything's going to work properly, I've gone ahead and just hooked it up to a power supply. And then what I've done is I've also hooked up USB, and when it powers up properly you'll hear it. It makes little noises. Each one of the ESCs makes noises. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to go through kind of software and this, and we're going to set up and show you basically the setup and how to set the controller, the transmitter, to work with this little guy. So let me get over to the bench and we'll go to the computer. Okay guys, welcome to the computer side of this all and programming. What you will do is you will download the app. I'll put it in a link down in the description. It's actually a Google Chrome app, which is actually kind of neat, that launches. You'll also have to download and install the USB to serial drivers that comes with it, which I'll put a link in the description as well for that stuff, so you can download all that jazz. So basically here's how it looks. There's actually a CLI where you can do command line stuff. If you type dump, it'll actually give you a readout of all the different commands that you can set for this thing. However, it's fairly simple to just use this software. They did a great job on the software here. It even shows you if you have magnometers or a barometer or a baro or a GPS or sonar, and it's pretty cool. You can hook up a lot of really neat stuff to this Naze 32. I'm very excited to try this flight controller out. Right now, the main thing you have to do is go into your receiver. Oh yeah, sometimes it'll do this rebooting thing, and it takes it a minute because when you go into CLI mode, it actually reboots. So we'll give it a second to restart. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video while it's restarting because sometimes it takes it a little bit. Okay, got it back. I had to disconnect and reconnect, and then now we're back going again. So now we want to go to receiver, and right now my receiver is doing great. It's at 1500 all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a window. I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to pull up a video right now. So give me just a second. Okay, so now we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. So we're going to see all of the transmitter feeds update. And what you're wanting is you want to see, yeah, in the midpoint, which I'm going to go ahead and center the throttle. Move this up to as dead center as I possibly can get. As you can see, the throttle does move around. So lets me know we do have it configured properly. You want to see all your center marks at 1500. Now, if you don't have it centered at 1500, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let me see if I can move my microphone over here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. What we're going to do is in order to do this, we have to, let me move the camera down and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, zoom into this little screen down here. Get this all set up. Okay, so how this is going to work is you press this little button. This is with the FST6. Okay, that's what we're going to be using. Push this little button and it brings up the system and the setup. We want to go to function setup. Okay, now what we're going to do is we want to set up the sub trim. Okay, that's what this is. So now if you watch on the main screen for like channel 1, which will be the roll, as I move this, see how the roll moves around? See, it's moving down as I'm doing that. So I want this to be set at around 1500. Yeah, right about there. That's right about perfect. Okay, and that's what you do. You go through all 6 channels to do your roll, pitch, and yaw, and also your throttle. And you got to move your throttle to the middle. And then I judge it by this little. There's a spot on the throttle. Let me see if I can move this up real quick. See how there's those little gauges on the throttle, and that's what I use mine for. Is I gauge it based on that. I call that the center, and then I set up my channel. I set up my channel for that. Okay, so that's how you set up the centers. You just go down through these and move them around. So like I just kind of moved it. I'm going to get back. I'm going to try to keep as close to 1500 as I possibly can get. And then all you do is hit OK when you're done. Okay, and then the next thing is you're going to set up the endpoints. Okay, so we're going to come up here to endpoints, push that button. Okay, and what this is channel 1. Let me back off here. Let's see if I can zoom out. Okay, let me back off here and then show you this. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go the extremes, and you're going to push this way and that, and see how the arrow changes. So channel 1 is the roll, is what it is. And you can see that on the screen that the roll is changing. What you want to do is push this all the way to one side, and you want it to be roughly 1000. So as I'm in here, let me go back to channel 1. I want this to be 1000. So see, I can move this around and get it really close to 1000. And then for the maximum, you want that to be somewhere around 2000. Well, 2000, 2002, that's good enough. Somewhere around 2000. And then somewhere around 1000 for the extremes. So you go through each one and do that. Like I'm looking at my other ones right now. As you can see, 2000-ish, 1000 roughly, and then 1000 roughly, 2000 roughly. So that's pretty much what you want to do, and that's all there is to it. It's actually really simple. Then we hit OK as usual, and that's pretty much it so far as setting up the controller sides. Now there is one more thing that we want to set up, and that's going to be the auxiliaries. You want to be able to change flight modes. Okay, so what I did was I'm looking at there's really 3 main modes. I'm just setting mine up for one, but I set it up for this switch right here. This little toggle switch will change the modes, and how that's going to work is, first off, you have to tell it. I'm gonna go back in here. You have to tell it what the auxiliaries are. So see aux channels here. So I'm going to push that button right now. Channel 5 is switch C, and they're labeled up here. If I can show you, let me move the camera up. Yeah, see, there's SWC, there's SWA, there's a VRA for variable resistor, VRB, and then there's a switch B and a switch D. Okay, that's on there. So I've chosen that channel 5, which we have hooked up on the actual deal on, is switch C, is channel 5. Okay, and then I didn't care about number 6, it's whatever. But 5 and 6 are my 2 auxiliaries that I can move around on this remote. So I changed it to switch C and channel 5. So that's what I did. Okay. Once I was able to do that, now looking back at the computer screen here, let me move my microphone back where I can, let's see, move it back over here where I'm in front of the computer now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to mode selection. Okay, see, these are the modes that you can set up. Okay, now the main ones is, I hear angle is a very good mode because it basically will not, it's good for learning. It won't allow the quadcopter to tilt beyond a certain angle. So basically you can't, flip it over and lose lift and fall out of the sky. So that's basically what angle mode is. Horizon mode will fully enable it to be able to do flips. Like you can mash the stick in one direction and it'll do a barrel roll or do flips and things like that. Well, for me, I'm adventurous, so I'm going to go ahead and the normal mode is nothing selected. Nothing selected is like normal mode. And so what I did was I basically enabled the horizon mode. What I did was, watch, as I move the switch, let me scroll up here. As I move this, whoops, wrong one. As I move this switch, you can see it change on the screen here, right? Okay, so what that means is right now in this low position, nothing is selected. No actual profile mode is selected. Okay, so it's just in normal operating mode. Then if I flip the switch, when I flip that switch and I check mark this box, see how it turned green? It's saying that now we're in horizon mode. Okay, now if I flip it the other way, it turns red, which says I'm not in horizon mode. Okay, so that's how we do it. Now I could, for right now, since I'm a beginner, I'm going to choose this angled mode. I'm going to hit save. So it's always going to be in that angle mode. Since I'm kind of a beginner, I don't want to crash this thing a whole ton. So it's either angle mode or full blast mode. See how that changes? The green moves from one to the other. So that's what I'm going to do. And then, like I said, make sure and save your changes, and that saves it in the EEPROM. And up here is your little menu. It tells you what's going on. So that's that, okay? So that's pretty much all there is to setting up the controller. The controller is actually really pretty easy to set up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at motor testing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to move the camera down here. We're gonna change down over here. We're gonna change that view to the bench view. So give me just a second. Okay, guys. Well, we're gonna bring up the menu now. Okay, there we go. So that way, I'm gonna kind of go between different devices here and there. Got both mics on, so we'll see how this works in post editing. But first, another main thing you want to do, I went back to this setup menu because you want to calibrate the accelerometer. If you have flashing lights on the board, like right now, if you look at mine are not flashing, but if you have a flashing light on the board, it means that the accelerometers are not calibrated yet. So you want to click this button, make sure you're on a nice level surface, and calibrate the accelerometers. Now, if I move the little guy around, you can see that it responds with the accelerometers. And well, really, it's the gyroscope that's in it. Actually, it's a gyroscope and accelerometer. It knows where it's at all times. So that's part of its sensing. Well, now the board will stay solid, which is good because that means, and a red light right now, there's a blue light that means that it's got power. But then the red light means that it is not armed yet. So even if I play with the receiver and try to fire up the motors, it will not fire up the motors until I have armed them, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. So first off, we need to go to motor testing. Now, I've gone ahead and I've tested all the motors myself and played around with them and made sure that they're working properly. So, and switched up wirings appropriately. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the method for doing that. What it is, you can do it one of two ways. I liked this way for checking motor rotation. If you check this box, it basically arms the board, okay? There we go. So you can do it with the actual controller, or you can do them individually. Now that I've got them armed, I armed them with the controller. Here, let me show you how that works. All right, I'm going to change the microphones and everything. All right, so I've got my transmitter and I've got it turned on and everything. And as you can see, there's a red light. I don't know if you can see that very well in this camera, but there's a red light that's on. Now watch. If you throttle all the way down, okay, and then over to the right is what you got to do. So your yaw over to the right, rudder right. That will change to green. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it changes to green. And once it changes to green, then I've got throttle. Okay? And then similarly, if I go back to the right, if I push it all the way down and I go rudder right, I push the rudder all the way to the right. If I do that, it will disarm it. And it will disarm the motors. So if I back up, there we go. And now it's disarmed. Now it has no effect on it. Okay, so that's how you arm and disarm your motors. So we need to arm them. Okay, and then test them out. Oh yeah, they're spinning. So now that they're armed, set that down, and now I'm going to go back to the computer. So now that they're armed, I can do this. I can check this checkbox. Okay, and then individually, I should be able to run. Well, maybe I don't check the checkbox. There's a way that I should be able to run each individual motor. Let me try it from here. There we go. There they are. Okay. So you have to disarm it. Sorry, my bad. And then you check that checkbox, which basically arms it. And now you can do each one individually. See that? And I can test and make sure what orientation they're supposed to be spinning. Now, a place where you can check that, let's see, I think it's configuration. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so 1 is spinning clockwise, 2 should be counterclockwise, 3 should be counterclockwise, and 4 should be clockwise, okay? So if you ever wonder, this is our setup. It's a quad X pattern. This is our setup. Go to configuration. You can see how it's supposed to be set up, and then go back to your motor testing, check your box, and then test each individual motor and make sure it is spinning the correct direction. Now, I do highly recommend, that's my controller. My controller beeps at you telling you that you haven't played with it in a minute and that it's going to turn off. Which is fine, it can turn off. Any case, what's really nice is take safety feature, safety precaution. If you notice, I'm looking at these motors and testing these motors without propellers. Definitely take the propellers off, especially with these kind of higher end quadrocopters. Now the little ones that you buy, like the little kid ones and stuff, you know, you can get your hand bound up in it and it's not a problem. It doesn't hurt. I mean, it just kind of, you know, pinches a bit. These will literally split you open. I mean, these motors are very strong. They will literally gash a cut in your hand, and I mean, you'll be bleeding. So take the propellers off. That's why it even talks about that right here. Remove all propellers before using this feature. Yeah, you definitely don't want to have the propellers on it, because if you're sitting there, you know, maybe you have your hand too close or something, you forget about it and they turn on, they will split you open. So safety caution. Definitely take the propellers off if you're going to be checking the motors and playing with those. So any case, that is pretty much it, guys. That's all it takes to set it up. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to, I'll go ahead and probably at the end of this video, I'll show the schematic of this. So that way you guys can see the schematic and see how this was all wired up. I forgot to flash that up in the midst of the building process, so I apologize for that, but here it is right now. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get back off the PC, because it's pretty much all set up, ready to go. Put the propellers on it, and you know, guys, it's ready to test it, make sure that the sensing works properly, and we may fly this sucker. I've got the battery charging, so let's go back to the bench. Okay, guys, we have made it to the final step. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. Okay, I'm going to turn off the power supply here. Okay, and then we're going to install, well, we're going to zip tie all this down. I'm going to go ahead and push these all the way in, because they are operating correctly now. And then we'll zip tie all this stuff up and make it all good to go. You know what I'm going to do? I didn't even think about the fact that these all have to be zip tied down. I may go ahead and stop the camera right here, get this all zip tied up, and then we'll continue with the propellers. Okay guys, final step. We're going to be putting on the copter blades. So what I'm going to do is, they have these little sleeves. Doesn't look like we're going to need them, because it looks like these are definitely, yeah, these are big enough. If you had like a smaller deal, they have these little sleeves, so it'll actually fit properly. But ours are just gonna, should be able to just go right on. Well, maybe. Hopefully we're not too thick. I may have to rearrange these and put these on the bottom, these connectors, because it looks like it may end up hitting. I think I may end up doing that. But basically what you do, what I want to show you guys is, I'll probably rearrange this. You guys don't have to watch me do this. Is hopefully I can, man, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, perfect. See that 5030R? Okay, one has an R on it. Okay, and the others, focus. There we go. Will not. It'll just be 5030. Okay, the propeller with the R is the clockwise propeller. Okay, the propeller without the R, okay, is the counterclockwise propeller. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put all these on. I think I'll probably change these and put this stuff on the bottom, so that way the propellers don't hit it. And yeah, we'll come back. Okay guys, well, hopefully you've enjoyed this whole series and montage of building this little guy. Here it is, and I know that I've actually have to tell you, to tell you the truth, been playing with it. I've been flying it around, so I've actually changed out the propellers, because this is the first time I've ever flown a quadrocopter, actually. So outside of, you know, like the little toy ones, my son's is over here, but outside the little toy ones. So I will say, word to the wise, after flying this for a little bit, buy more propellers, because I actually had like a 4-pack of propellers, and I've already gone through like 2 or 3 of them. So so yeah, so you will crash it. It's gonna happen. I tell you what, this carbon fiber body really works well. It's taken, I've actually gotten it stuck in one of my like 50-foot trees, and it fell out of that tree and hit the ground just pow. And the only thing I lost was the battery slid out of its little pack. So we're gonna have to do something. I'll probably 3D print like a little carriage or something that will hold the battery to where when it lands like this, pow, the battery doesn't come shooting out of the little strap that's on here. And then I'm gonna get a Velcro strap. For right now, I've just got some zip ties holding it on. I'll probably get one of those Velcro straps later to strap that thing down with. But more or less, there it is. Oh, another thing. This is just learning. A lot of you are going to laugh at me at this, so please keep the laughter to a minimum. I've never flown one of these before. I haven't ever built one before, okay? But I did manage to chop off the antenna. Yeah, that's right. I didn't zip tie the antenna down. Yes, I know. Come on, laugh all you want. Anyway, so these things are powerful. These motors. These are extremely powerful. And yeah, it will take an antenna and slice it right off. I don't know if you can see that, but there is no more antenna. So I've ordered another receiver. That's the good thing about these transmitters. They have the bind key on the back, and you can bind them to, of course, I think most of these have these. But again, like I said, I'm kind of new to the whole RC thing, so you know, forgive me for my ignorance. But there's this bind key back here, and you can actually bind this transmitter to different receivers that you can buy. So I've ordered a couple more receivers. Yes, that's right, I ordered a couple more because, well, we never know. This may be really cool. I may build a bigger one. We may check that out. If you guys enjoyed this, we may build a bigger one. And also, just in case I damage it yet again, I can repair it. So anyway, yes, I know in the first video of this, it was quite comical. I used the red Loctite. I know I got a few comments on that. It was pretty funny. I only used it on the bottom, on the piece that more or less won't ever have to come apart. I mean, it just, I don't ever foresee it coming apart. You know, so I used the red on the bottom because I actually did put a wrong screw in at one point, and I had to use various methods to get it out. So I just went with, actually for right now, I went with nothing. I'm going to see how that is on the top piece and some of the other bolts, but with definitely the top piece, and of course my nylon screws that I used to hold the nays and the different boards together with, I did not Loctite those. But we'll see how it fares after I've slammed it into as many things as I could. I wish I'd have videotaped it. I'm going to videotape it. After this video will be the hilarious one of me flying this, but I almost hit myself in the face with it first time I flew it, so I wish I'd have had that. It would have made a great blooper reel. It would have been hilarious. So it literally came right at me. Vroom. So anyway, so I've been having fun with it though. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope everything is going well with you guys. Hopefully, if you decide to build one, hopefully this gave you some do's and some don'ts. And then I love the comments. I love the suggestions of don't use the red, because yeah, that's true. Don't use the red. The red's indestructible. So so far as Loctite and things like that. I want more comments like that. I mean, tell me what I've done wrong. I have never built one of these before, and I've never really gotten huge into the RC stuff before. So yeah, definitely keep the comments coming. I love it. Criticisms, telling me good jobs, good on you, whatever. I don't care. Just keep the comments flowing, because hey, I can only learn if people tell me about it. So yeah, definitely tell me about it. That's fantastic. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this whole series. More videos to come. I've actually got, you can't see it, but I think there's a whole pile of stuff that I just ordered. I'll probably do it in an update video, because we've also got that contest going on. I got the link in the description here. The last couple of weeks, because I'm gonna probably end it the end of February. So we're in the home running stretch of that. So make sure and get that link. Get me your idea, and definitely put your email in there, or form of communication. I've seen lots of people have been putting their emails in, so that's fine too, or just a form of communication you feel comfortable giving out. Now, I'm the only one that sees that. Not everybody can see it, so it does come straight to just me on that form, but fill out that Google form, give me your idea, and submit your idea for the chance to win your very own Intel Edison, because I'm going to be giving that away. I'll be doing a drawing during an update video, and I'll be giving that away to a lucky winner. So make sure you get down there and put your name in for that, because I don't want anyone to miss that opportunity, because these are really cool. I've made a few videos on them. So anyway, guys, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, as well as check out t-shirts. I'm not wearing one right now because I'm actually getting ready to do some work outside, and it's cold here. So, but check out the t-shirts, zazzle.com/misperry. Check those out because they have, I've uploaded some new stuff. I think I got keychains up there now and things like that. So check that out. That supports the channel. Whenever you buy stuff, I get a percentage of it. So I put towards stuff for the channel. So definitely check that out. Check me out on Twitter and Instructables. Links are all in the description. Guys, with that, I'm going to go fly this thing. I think that ought to do it. We'll see you guys next time.